Here we go.
Money, money, making crap.
Just a quick reminder here, this is not financial advice. This is just my own money going into ULTY YOLO style. So welcome back, ULTY yielders. They say scared money don't make money, but the real game is really knowing exactly where your money goes. So that's why I built this custom ULTY dividend tracker. And today I'm breaking it down, showing you my life numbers and why I chose ULTY in the first place. By the end, you'll see if weekly income can really beat price erosion. And this is the whole point of this experiment. So this spreadsheet I built to track every detail. Up here, you got the basics. I invested $3,689.55. And the market value currently is $3,464.87. So on paper, that's a 6.09% loss. But here is the real difference here. I logged every dividend that comes in. And so far, it's $184.27. Once you add those in, the true gain is only a negative 1.10%. And that's a story that price alone does not tell you. I also tracked taxes, $170.26 so far after tax dividends year to date, which is obviously a $14 right now in difference that I would owe at the end of the year currently. Because really, why I'm tracking this is because not what you earn, but it's what you keep. And this also helps me keep track of what I'll have to pay. And I'll show exactly how I came up with that number. I could be wrong, but that's the way I understood the taxes work. And so we'll get into that in a minute here. The margin is here as well. I borrowed $609.23. And according to Robinhood, I still have about a 30% buffer before any margin calls are even at risk. And finally, the charts. You can see here that we track the monthly net dividends and the weekly net dividends, and I'll show you how that all gets put together. But for the month of August, we came in at $171.14 in dividends. And obviously, we're waiting for September to start here, but excited to see that. But these visuals just make it a lot easier for me to see the cash flow and really see it stacking up week by week. So this isn't just for me, it's the engine behind the whole experiment. And if ULTY can beat the erosion, this spreadsheet will prove it. All right, so here's the live account. No edits, no clubs, just ULTY. And currently ULTY is sitting at a $5.68. I hold 610 shares at an average cost of $6.05. The market value for those shares are $3,464.87. And that is an unrealized loss of $224.66, which is that negative 6.09%. But the dividends bring me much closer to even, and we'll be reviewing that here shortly. The margin, it is flagging right now as low risk. I'm not sure how I believe Robinhood and how they determine that, but it says I'm $855 above what I need to be, which ends up being 30%. And the interest is zero, as you can see there, because I am taking advantage of being under the $1,000 of interest free. And so definitely want to bump that up, and I will continue to do that as we keep going on through this journey. So think of it like this, like a bucket with a leak. Price erosion is the leak. Dividends are the water pouring in. The question is, does the bucket stay full or empty over time? All right, so let's show the spreadsheet here. So basically what you're going to see here on this spreadsheet is the YouTube view that you guys are going to be seeing. 10:31 p.m. You're going to see here the ULT market price sitting at $5.68. And obviously that comes straight from Robinhood or wherever you're getting your price from. We'll show there that also shows it from Robinhood, and I'll show you that here shortly. And the break-even price, obviously, that includes the dividends and what it would need to be. And as you can see, $5.75 is what the break-even price is, and the market price is $5.68. Loss right now, including the dividends of $40.41, which is a total of the negative 1.10%. You see here where the market value is $3,464.87, and we hold 610 shares of ULTY. with the cost basis of $3,689.55, and we've collected a total of $184.27. And this is just a snapshot view that makes it a lot easier. So obviously the market value, it's right there. It's not showing up there. That is the cost basis. It does show it, and the dividends up here. Then we have the unrealized P and L negative 6.09%, which is a $224 that we are showing on Robinhood right now. The true gains, including dividends, negative $40 is from Robinhood right here. So you see here that we have obviously the price of $5.68, the average cost $610 shares, and what the loss is, which is automatically calculated. The spreadsheet here, I'll show you how that all works as well. We can see here the taxes, the margin, and the actual amount there, along with the chart there that shows the rest of it. So where the market price comes from is when I enter it here into the prices, you enter the current price, then you can see here that at $5.68, we get these in red. If I bring it over to the break even price right now of $5.75 to the main page here, the YouTube view, what it is, a positive turns green, and then the total also there. So the break even price would put us at $2.29 above, but the unrealized P&L will still be $181.98. This obviously would be a good thing if we're gaining more, but obviously that would be something that would be really nice. And as a matter of fact, we were there earlier on Thursday, and then I believe Friday as well, before the drop that we have. But just so that you can see here that the unrealized P&L will also change. If for some reason $6.05, it would change it at that point to see that go. ULTY has gone higher after it went lower. We're doing well on Friday, then that's why a lot of the drops there as well. So we'll go back here and enter the correct price of $5.16 and show you what we're currently at. The next part here is going to be the taxes, and where that comes from is basically when you go into the dividends, we enter here the income on a cash, and I'll explain that here as we go into that, but that's where that information comes from. And then you have your margin that we use that comes directly from Robinhood. If I just take you back to Robinhood here, you're going to see here that all that information is here is basically transferred over on the tab here that says margin. Just enter that information in there, and you can see there. See, it shows the portfolio value, the cash amount that we have, the maintenance requirements, so everything in green. I enter. Robinhood charges for their margin and the free interest of $1,000 that they do have there. So that's where that comes from. And then the actual amount, obviously, it shows what the actual amount of the portfolio is without any margin. The $200 cash value that I currently have, and the position, the portfolio with margin. And so that means that the difference between the position with margin and the actual value of it that I have, it's a difference of 609, which matches the margin that I'm using right now. So moving on to the transaction history, this is where we enter all the information, all the transactions that we've done from ULTY. You can see here that we started on July 15th of 2025 with those market buys. I didn't do a good job of tracking the deposits that I did, but I'll explain that here in a minute. But basically what happens is once we get a dividend payout, I had it on drip automatically from Robinhood, and it would buy in and reinvest the drip there. Problem was, when I noticed, was Robinhood was doing it on Mondays. Of ULTY on Mondays was a lot higher than it was on Thursday and Friday or the week prior. So therefore I took it off auto drip, and I manually drip all of it into ULTY on Thursday to Robinhood. ULTY, you can see the dip right here. ULTY releases the distribution to wherever it goes to. Obviously, it doesn't go to your account yet, but wherever it goes to, that drops there. So I am taking advantage of that time and immediately buying it. That when I first bought this, I ended up buying 10 shares at $5.68 at 7:10 p.m. And then this is Mountain Time that I'm at. I've whole amount of shares through Robinhood after the market time, then it can only be 10 shares. So it ended up being exactly $56.80. You can see here that the dividend was $56.94. So I missed out on the 14 cents. And I just let that go into the margin. I'm not going to go in there and add the 14 cents, but at some point, maybe I account for that. Not sure if I'm going to track that or not. The 10 shares for $56.80 is not that big of a difference for the 14 cents. So that's why I'm manually dropping, especially if I'm getting the price. If you see here when they open back up, uh, 7 in the morning here to 8 the mountain time, it opens at 7:30 in the morning. The price was a lot higher and they just continue to ride up. So you can only imagine what the price would have been on Monday. And it just so happens that the price right now is 568, right where I bought it. So it does use a little bit of margin to buy that. And then dividend comes in on Friday. I believe for me, Mountain Time here, Robinhood releases the money about 8 p.m. And so when that came in, it just dropped down the margin and put it down there again. So that is where that comes from and why we do it that way. So you can see here that that was the money that was reinvested here. The 10 shares at $5.68. That was the last amount. The deposits was I was not tracking it. So I did add $200. These $200 that I added came from a bank account that I had. Those $200 just sitting there. It's been sitting there for 2 years. I wish I would have put it somewhere else here and there or lost it all. It was the Robinhood. It's not available for withdrawal yet because that bank is a little bit slow. It is showing there and it's helping. So that's where that's coming from. You do put it in there, and obviously that's going to count it against the total portfolio, but not against the shares. So you can see here that it puts a positive, but not a negative. We add that amount that goes in there as far as money wise. This shows what the position is. It just it takes everything. So obviously everything that Robinhood has and here is just in a different tab, just for visual there and for data collection. So we can put it on to the YouTube view page. And then this is where the dividends come in for the weekly and these charts here. And then lastly, here we have the dividend taxes. And this obviously breaks down the taxes. And all I have to do is change this that it's in green. My tax rate is at 24%. So therefore that I put 24% there. But definitely need to change that to 0 or 22% or whatever your tax rate is. It will definitely change it there. And going back to where that calculates and from where this calculates as well as far as the taxes go, on the dividend page here, I'm sorry, I didn't. I'm not sure if I showed this, but if I did show it, I'm adding the shares that I get on dividend. I'm sorry, this is the shares on record I have, the amount of dividend it paid, and how much it paid me. And then I track it. And if I drip, obviously I'm dripping all of it for the foreseeable future. As long as this experiment goes on, I am going to drip. And here I'm just making a note to myself that I'm manually dripping it. So here we come back to the income percentage and the ROC percentage and what is tax and where is tax at. So this is something I have to manually input here. And you're going to ask where this comes from. The ULTY web page. You're going to see here that this here shows you what the distribution is. Unfortunately, it's a little bit behind. Their main page is showing it from 8.8. But if you scroll down a little bit here, you're going to see here the 19A-1 notices. And when you click on here, it takes you to the supplemental tax. And you're able to click here on whichever week it is or group is for ULTY. Obviously, it's every week. I'm sorry, it doesn't show until later. So in order for you to get that information, normally what I do is I go into the YieldMax on X, and obviously is loading right now. But what happens is every morning, every Thursday, if you're wondering, around 5 o'clock in the morning, they're a little bit late. They release their post showing what the dividend is going to be. And you can see here, ULTY was 10 cents on the 20th. And show you guys what the last one is. It's right here. You can see here that this is the dividend that ULTY paid, the 9 cents and the 4.9. So if you click on the press release here, it takes you to this page, and this shows you the most current one. You can also go to the other ones. This is where ULTY is showing their payout. So what I did is I just take the return on capital here, the 12.82%, and I entered it here. I just subtracted 100% minus the 12.82%, and that tells me that the $49.64 are just going to be taxed, and the $12 is just return on cash there, which is the $7.29 out of those $56.94. So that's where that comes from. If I'm incorrect, please let me know. Gonna be accounting for that and what I need to put away. So depending on how much it is, it'll just be one. Maybe that's the first dividend that I do take and just pay it to as taxes when that comes in next year. But it's gonna be fun to see. If I'm paying taxes, that means I'm making money, and I'm completely fine with that. I just want to make sure that I track it because I don't want to not be able to pay for it. So I'm not sure how much it's gonna make. I wish it was $1 million. That'd be great. So really, overall, why ULTY? I didn't pick ULTY just for the YouTube gimmick. I picked it because it's a strategy that actually works. It could be a way to build wealth through weekly income. The risk really is price erosion over time, and the reward is cash flow that keeps coming in. And that's really the experiment here. So one of the things I putting up on the screen here is like Warren Buffett says, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you will work until you die. This is me testing that idea in real time. And just for some perspective, and you can fact check me if you want, ULTY's trailing yield is 125%. The S&P 500 the S&P 500's yield is 1.3%, and the savings account is about 4 to 5%. So that is the spread I am testing here. Obviously, the 125 on ULTY is, I believe, yearly. And when it first started, just fact check me on that. I love to hear it in the comments. But would you ever try, or do you think I'm nuts for attempting this? I definitely would want to hear your comments and your thoughts on that, and I'll read them all. I'll make sure I'll answer them when we're there. So for anybody who hasn't been here, here's the experiment. I turn a red portfolio green using only dividends. Every week I'll update you on the numbers. No hype, no shortcuts, just facts. Obviously, this was a little bit longer video only because I was showing the spreadsheet, but I wanted you guys to see where all of this information is coming from. So next week I'll just show you if the payouts keep stacking or if erosion keeps eating deeper. Either way, you'll see it here in real time. If you want to see this experiment play out, every win, every loss, every dividend, subscribe and join the ULTY yielders. The rocket might fly, it might crash, but you'll see every step here of the ride. And I will see you guys on the next video.